Looking so stunning. Oh my God, the jewelry. Take a look at her. It's your moment. I mean, pause for it for us. So ladies and gentlemen, Stenom Foundation is actually launching their first fundraising gala. And we're all here supporting this vision that they have. And we're definitely going to hear more from them. But right on this red carpet, with the amazing Curtly.
Thank you, Curtly, for that introduction. And let me recognize the founders of the Stenom Foundation, along with all you distinguished ladies and gentlemen that are here present. Thank you for the honor of inviting me to this launch. I want to just focus on tenacity this evening that the two young founders have displayed. I was chatting with Lance and saying, who are these youngsters? And sometimes you do take a risk of accepting an invitation when you actually don't know the founders. The one thing for certain is they are persistent. Both Lance and I were out in Vic Falls at some other function, and both of us are family men, and we much rather would have preferred to have been at home, relaxing and catching up with family, having been away for the better part of the week. But Craig in particular, I don't know what you're on, young man, but your persistence is an attribute that I think will actually get this foundation to where it ought to be. So thank you. Thank you to Ruth. I hadn't met her. Where is she now? Has she disappeared somewhere? But I think suffice to say, the objective of the foundation is a compelling one. And I always remark that money will always follow a compelling vision, solid characters, a very good plan, and people that project themselves well financially. And on the back of what I was informed by Craig in terms of the ambitions that you have, I think you hit a sweet spot for many who are here present. And I would like to applaud you for taking the risk as we did and actually coming here. So I think you deserve a round of applause for coming here and being so elegantly dressed as well. So thank you for coming. I believe that ordinarily the foundations are actually set up, particularly in Zimbabwe, by people who are well established and well endowed, and therefore would have capital to deploy more as a corporate social responsibility arm of some enterprise that they are running and are beneficiaries of. And so hearing of a pair of young individuals setting up their minds to focus on what is a primary issue, which is that of assisting young people in Zimbabwe on the subject matter of employment, and then in the same breath offering entrepreneurial training, motivation, I think is indeed a noble cause that merits a lot of support. In my view, if you look at unemployment in Zimbabwe, you look at the young people in Zimbabwe, their lack of hope in terms of a future, I think you have identified a need that will go a long way in actually resolving things that cannot be resolved, that being unemployment. Young people undoubtedly are looking at Zimbabwe, looking at hyperinflation, the exchange rate, the economy in general, and would much better be placed to desire to go elsewhere. And I'm delighted I was able to bring my son here, Panashe, and thank you for standing in on behalf of your mum. But she thought that you were better suited for this. And I think I can relate to the circumstances because of my own adult children, in that in as much as they've gone on, been educated overseas, they come back and are challenged to the environment here in Zimbabwe. They think to themselves, Dad, should we really be coming home? And I certainly wanted my kids home so that I would see my grandkids here. So hint, hint, Panashe. We're saying, get busy. The issue, though, is what do they come back to? And that's always been very troubling on account of those kids that actually go out, study hard, and come back here. And then there are the kids who are domesticated in the sense that they've been educated here. They have gone as far as they possibly can under very trying circumstances. And then the question is, now what? And so you've got a healthy mix of young people who are educated in the diaspora, have elected either by choice or by preference of country where they've studied, and visa requirements don't permit them to stay overseas, and they end up back home. Or if they have parents like me who are persistent and then, shut the tap dry and then bring them home. The question is, what then do they do? And so social entrepreneurship, as you heard, is a point where they begin to address solutions, psycho-socio-economic solutions that are needed within a country such as ours. And I believe concretely that the youth can walk faster, but the elders know the road. And that's an African proverb. And as you've done as young people, respecting elders, learning from what they've walked before you, and then trying to mix it with your own experiences, your education, your exposures, I think we should be able to resolve matters that require us to address in a very, very concrete fashion. And clearly, entrepreneurship by its nature is creating something out of nothing. And so I congratulate you on this very bold, almost stern move in line with the name Stenom, to actually reach out to people and say, you can do it as young people. So don't let anyone tell you that you can't. And by doing something, I know the word of God says, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I know you can. And when you discover something that you really want to do, such as generate jobs, then there is no doubt that you draw the attention of people like us, who then say we can walk alongside you. And what is it that I have to offer before I sit down? I offer mentorship. I love young people. I also offer social entrepreneurship. And social entrepreneurship was born, actually, I first heard of it when I joined the Young Global Leaders, the YGL, from Professor Schwab of the World Economic Forum. And I think he identified social entrepreneurship as something that was needed, particularly in Africa. And so we've got a body, a wealth of knowledge within the forum that we should be able to draw out of in order to get your foundation going. I am a former YGL, and also the founder of the Global Shapers hubs here in Zimbabwe. There are currently 5 hubs operating. I think 3 are more active than the other 2, which are fairly new. So we've got the Global Shapers in Harare, a Global Shapers Forum and hub in Bulawayo, and another one in Gweru. And so I think we can connect you to these young people and see the social work that they are doing within communities. We've been alive here since 2013, and I'm sure you can plug into that network. It's a fairly extensive network and be able to do something. I think to the youth that you are actually dealing with, and any young people that might be in here, never lose hope in your country. Your dream and yourself should never be things that you lose hope in, be it according to your faith. And if you reach out, all things are indeed possible. What would I say are the priorities for Zimbabwe? I think let's look to create modern jobs and not look just to our history. Let's look to social enterprise that reduce and focus on the reduction of corruption. Let's focus on quality and meaningful education. And there's a whole new opportunity, I think. I happen to chair Junior Achievement Zimbabwe. And I think entrepreneurship, financial literacy should be taught right from primary school. And if we can cascade that and roll out junior achievement type programs, not only to the elite schools, but also to the rural schools, and also impact the education curriculum, then I think we would be able to make an impact as well. I think the areas of focus include supporting innovations, easing the ease of doing business, enhancing human rights, social justice, access to basic amenities within the urban areas along with the rural areas, respecting sovereignty of our nations as Africans, areas such as addressing climate change, which have not been addressed adequately, addressing migration and refugee issues, increasing transnational mobility of Africans, increasing foreign aid not just financially, but also through social enterprise. These are all areas that you could focus on. And so without much further ado, I'm saying I'm on board. There's no greater commitment than getting a Liverpudlian to come out on a Saturday evening and meet people they had never come across. I only met Craig tonight, and I'm sure I'll meet Ruth a little later on formally. I say we are all too rich to be poor. Let's do this. I thank you.
Thank you, Doc. 100%. We are all too rich to be poor. Somebody say that. We are all too rich to be poor. And those are wise words from a decent man. And not without mentioning, ladies and gentlemen, that Dr. Nigel is a Zimbabwean businessman and philanthropist and founder of the Kingdom Bank. I think we all, if we are people who were invested in Zimbabwe from a very long time ago, we remember the Kingdom Bank. And the bank rose from humble beginnings to leading an indigenous financial services group. before its exit. And his efforts continue to be recognized. As he said, he is someone who is into mentorship and social entrepreneurship. So we do thank you so much, Doc, for those wise words, as well as a meaningful contribution to everything that Stenom believes in. Your endorsement to us matters. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, I'll hand it over to my co-host.
So I would like to introduce the next speaker in absentia. Before I introduce the lady who will be speaking on behalf of him, I would like to give you guys a brief bio of who he is. Our next speaker was supposed to be Dr. Chamuchiwanza. He's an entrepreneur, a philanthropist, was made a name as one of Zimbabwe's top entrepreneurs. Unfortunately, Dr. Chamuchiwanza will not be with us tonight, but in his place we have Ms. Vimbai Butau, who is also pushing the initiative of empowering the youth and forcing them to take charge, pushing them to take charge, pushing them to go to the top. Vimbai Butau, ladies and gentlemen.
And we also want to recognize her as the CEO and founder of Masaido Lead, which is an entrepreneurship program that continues to grow from strength to strength through her works of recognizing everything that young people are all about. We do know that Craig and Ruth are young people who are the orchestrators of Stenom, so we do hope they win, Wimbai, next year. Wimbai Butau, everybody. Let's give a round of applause.